thought I'd start out by just telling you a little bit about our protected area program. So we have properties throughout Kansas and even one in Nebraska. And they're all situated so that we can support wildlife, but also have places where people can connect with nature near where they are. Our vision is a series of properties throughout the state so that there's high quality wildlife habitat throughout the state, but also places where people can connect with wildlife close to where they are. So we currently have protected areas, one in Nebraska, which is our Hutton Niobrara Ranch Wildlife Sanctuary. It's 5,000 acres along the Niobrara River. It offers cattle ranching, so we show how cattle ranching can be compatible with wildlife, but it also has mountain lion and elk and sharp-tailed grouse, and so that's a wonderful scenic property. We have another property, the Achterberg Wildlife Friendly Demonstration Farm near Lincoln, Kansas. That one is mostly row crop agricultural farm, but there's this beautiful riparian area through the middle of it that has wonderful winding woods, and we've added grassland buffer strips, and now it supports Connie Achterberg's favorite bird, the bobwhite quail. And then the Mount Mitchell Heritage Prairie Park, along with the Mount Mitchell Prairie Guards. That one is maintained as a public park, but it also has some of the best tallgrass prairie habitat you're going to find in the Flint Hills. It's just south of Wamego, Kansas. And it also honors Captain William Mitchell, who was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. So all of our properties are unique. And I'm so excited to have this property being added to the Audubon of Kansas Protected Areas program because it's going to have a wonderful hiking trail that you're going to experience a little bit later today with these wonderful bur oak trees, and other parts of the property have a really nice grassland habitat with so much diversity of wildflowers. There's a pond on the northern part. I mean, this property just has so many different aspects to make it valuable for wildlife, and now even more valuable for people through this hiking trail that will be provided. And so, this property and the beauty of this property didn't just happen. It takes landowners and people that own the land, that care about it, that nurture the habitat. And so, for example, this hiking trail's been a passion of Gary's, and it takes a lot of upkeep to keep up a hiking trail and keep it open with windstorms and tornadoes and just regular falling. And the Kendall family, this has been in the Kendall family for a number of years, and you'll hear more about that later, but they're stewards of this property, and it really is, Audubon of Kansas is honored that we can help honor the Kendall family's legacy with this property, and make sure that we're highlighting all the work that they've done. I also like to thank Gary specifically. He's been a supporter of Audubon of Kansas through many different ways. He's been on the chair of the board for a number of years. He just recently circulated off, and as he was chair of the board, he really fostered Audubon of Kansas through change in the executive director, the hiring of staff, and now our expansion of our protected areas program. And so I do want to just pause and give a special thank you to Gary for all your work as a volunteer. It's truly amazing. And then, to recognize Gary and Carolyn, both, the Kendall family that has a history on this property, and it's been a process to make this an Audubon of Kansas protected area. We really try to make sure that we're going to honor the donor's legacy when we accept this property. And so I'm just so honored that Gary and Carolyn have chosen Audubon of Kansas to help preserve their legacy. And here it comes. These hiking sticks aren't just hiking sticks. You helped get them
Yes.
So why don't you tell a little bit about the hiking stick?
I did. As a memento to thank the Hadens for this generous donation, I went out into the forest here and I cut 2 bitternut hickory trees and took them to a local artist and woodworker in Lawrence, Kansas named Matt Roman, who fashioned them into just gorgeous walking sticks. That way, Gary and Carolyn will always have a piece of the property with them.
We're going to get a picture.
Nice, good photo.
So anyway, I put nature trails in here, and then we thought, well, God, we need to save this on a permanent basis because it is special in Kansas. There's not that many places you can just get out of your car and walk up a trail and be in the midst of oak trees like this. And there's big walnut trees and other hackberries and so forth also. Unfortunately, they're aging out like I am. Only they age about 160 years, and I'm only going to be about half that. But so anyway, we started looking. We said, okay, how are we going to protect this? I had known Ron Klataski from classes we had together at K-State in the 60s. I knew his activity all those years with Audubon of Kansas, and so I talked to Ron, and I think he was looking for somebody to do more with sanctuaries, and so I think he probably saw 2 things. One, opportunity maybe for some protected area or sanctuaries, we called them at that time, but also a way to get more people involved in sanctuaries in Kansas and kind of spread his vision of having protected areas across the state that would have different habitat but be close enough for people to use them locally and not, Kansas, as you know, is absolutely at the bottom of states as far as public land for people to be out on. And so that's another thing that we think is very important. This is kind of more of I don't know how to describe it, but you kind of get a little bit of everything. You got cropland, you got forests to go through. Most places you don't have an opportunity to be this close to the trees and get the feeling of, a canopy over you and so forth. And I've had friends refer to it as old growth forest. Well, I guess it is because some of it's 160 years old. But it's not common in Kansas. And our fear was somebody would come along. We've got the beautiful hay meadow up here. I could just see somebody saying, well, let's subdivide that. We'll maybe put 4 houses on there and they'll mow everything. And then I could see somebody buying it and say, God, those oaks, I could cut those down and that would cut into what I owe on the property, so I'd have some cash right away, That's not the kind of person I want buying our property and leaving it up to them to manage in the long term. So that's where we ended up with Audubon of Kansas, because I knew of their past work. I became more familiar working with them on a regular basis, and I feel very comfortable with where the property will be 10 years down the road or 50 years down the road or whoever knows how many years. So anyway, this thing, it was kind of like we saw something needed to be done to suit us, and we went through that whole process of eliminating different places and organizations and landing on AOK, and we're very happy we did. So
I did want to mention that Audubon of Kansas is officially going to be receiving this property in December, and so it's not open to the public right now, but once that happens, we'll put it in the Harrington paper, we'll put it on our Facebook page and our newsletter that it's open and where it is, and so everybody can come enjoy this trail and have instructions for how to visit the property. So it's not open right now. This is a special sneak preview, so enjoy your day today.